I'm joined by UCC and Cork hurler Rob Downey, who's teamed up with Electric Ireland to preview the Electric Ireland Fitzgibbon Cup. This year, Electric Ireland's #First Class Rivals campaign celebrates unexpected alliances by former county rivals coming together in pursuit of a common goal to win some of the most coveted titles in GA. For example, you are a teammate of Iarla Daly of Waterford. But Rob, how are things with you? You're gearing up for another season, but I suppose you've probably very little break between Glen Rovers, Cork and college.
Yeah, all good. I suppose, coming back off we obviously lost the county final this year with Glen Rovers, but in fairness, management teams were kind of good to us. They gave us 3 or 4 weeks off and kind of said, look, come back whenever you feel fresh and the hunger is there again. So, in fairness to them, look, we did get a small bit of a break, and I don't know, I kind of get bored anyway after 2 or 3 weeks. You kind of be itching to get back out again. So, the break, I was looking to get back out there. There's no kind of better way than getting back up on the horse and going again to.
And are you the sort of young lad who's just stone mad for hurling?
Well, I suppose I would need the break as well, but I suppose 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and you're kind of saying, God, what will I do with myself in the evening now again? So, I would be mad about hurling, but obviously I do enjoy the break too.
Yeah. Do you have hobbies outside of hurling?
I suppose it's kind of hard. Not really. You don't have much time, sir. I suppose going up with the boys and whatever, having a laugh with the boys there. There's a good few of the boys there from the Glen and stuff like that. We'd be, we go for a stroll. I suppose the hurleys would be with us anyway the whole time. We'd be walking around the place and going down to the club. I suppose other sports would be my hobby. I'll be watching all the soccer matches and rugby and things like that. So maybe watching other sports, yeah.
And was going down the route of hurling what you were always going to do, or did those other sports ever get your attention?
No, it's probably always going to be hurling. My mother's 2 brothers would have played with the Glen. They would have played senior with the Glen. My dad's side, they would have kind of been more soccer and that. But no, I suppose, look, we live very close to the Glen as well. And I was probably always going to be hurling, yeah. I went to Christians, all right, in primary school and up through secondary school. Played a small bit of rugby there, but hurling was always kind of number one for me. Anyway.
Who would have been your heroes or influences growing up?
I suppose JJ Delaney was probably the fella I kind of looked up to most. He was just thought he was unreal. Obviously, he was a part of an unbelievable team too. So he was kind of getting to All-Ireland finals nearly every year and always performing in them. But yeah, he would have been one fella that I just loved watching. For me, anyway, I think he was the greatest defender to ever play.
So, I mean, I'm sure you're sick of talking and thinking about the 2021 season at this stage. But you got your All-Star nomination. It was a bit of a breakout year for you. You really made a name for yourself. Great performance in the All-Ireland semi-final in particular. But how do you reflect on it now? Because there's a couple of schools that thought you could be the manner of the final defeat set you back a bit, or the fact that you had that experience is, teams can come back from taking a bad beating and it can educate them for their next attempt.
Exactly, yeah. I don't think it'll kind of, move us back at all. I suppose, like you say, getting there was lovely, but you kind of want to be winning them. So going back there now this year, I suppose, look, we just have to focus on ourselves again, and obviously there's things to improve on for next year, and we're working hard on trying to better ourselves and be ready for the up and coming season.
And how good was that journey that you went on last year? I mean, you had close shaves in different games. The Clare game, you were very good against Dublin, and you had a particularly good game that day. And then against Kilkenny, went to extra time also. But how much does that help build the team going on that journey?
Oh, hugely, I suppose. Like you say, we had tough games, and I'm not too sure how many games. Maybe 4 games to get to the final, or 3 or whatever. But there were 3 or 4 tough games as well. So you'd be kind of, especially the semi-final where I went to extra time, and that would obviously bring you closer and bring you on a bit, and you get huge confidence from it, just to be able to say, look, that we were able to last with a brilliant Kilkenny team, and go through extra time with them and come out on top, so yeah, hugely, they benefited us hugely, and the run.
Yeah, so fullback is, I would argue, having played there, it's the toughest position in the world if your rest of your teammates aren't winning the battle out the field. I mean, that All-Ireland, it must have been very, very tough with the quality of ball going in.
Yeah, sure. Look, every game is tough in the full back line these days. But yeah, like you say, it's a fairly unforgiving position. But look, that's kind of, you just have to put up with it. You kind of get used to the small, I suppose. You have to kind of be a small bit cute in there, and they're not kind of pick and choose when you might go for the ball. You can be made a fool of in 2 seconds, like so. It's a bit of a, it's a hard one, but I sure look, you don't mind once you're on the starting 15 anyway.
Yeah, this is it. Do you think, was it a small bit harsh that Cork got no All-Stars?
No, look, I suppose, I don't know. We don't really think too much about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I wanted to do a little quick Q&A with you. You can answer the questions as short or as long as you like. But first thing is, what do you remember of your first time ever at Croke Park? Now, this could be as a kid or as a player.
I remember we got absolutely hammered by Kilkenny. All-Ireland semi-final. I can't remember the year. Hammered out the gate anyway, but I remember Patrick Horgan got 6 points from playing the second half.
That was a couple of years ago. Did he score 310 that day, or am I mixing it up with
No, I was actually on the panel then. This could have been 2011, I'd say.
Oh, okay. Who's your favorite player of all time?
JJ Downey.
Oh yeah, you did say that, to be fair. Who's been your toughest opponent and why?
TJ Reid, for obvious reasons. I know he kind of has it all, really. He's incredibly strong. He's actually very, very clever in his runs and stuff. Obviously, he kind of has to preserve his energy because he's such a big player for Kilkenny. But his runs are kind of, he picks and chooses very well when to run and the type of run he makes. And then if he doesn't run at all, he's very good in the air, so he can win his own ball too. So you'd have your hands full with him.
Yeah, you have to give yourself credit. You did very well against him in the All-Ireland semi and caught a few balls in extra time too. We won't forget that. Who's the team you most like to beat?
Club or county?
Either. Sew it into someone.
Was Tipperary.
Okay. What's your proudest day playing GA?
Proudest day, probably winning the minor county final with the Glen.
And who's been the biggest influence on your career?
My parents, I'd say, but in particular my dad. He would have he wouldn't really come from a hurling kind of a background. No, he was always stone mad about GA and stuff like that, but never would have played. He would have played a small bit with the band, but that was probably because they were forced to play. But he would have just been at every one of our matches and growing up, and he would have always encouraged us and never really put pressure on us to do anything, but just encouraged us the whole time. So probably my dad, yeah.
And what's your favourite stadium to play in?
Thurles.
Where?
Temple Stadium, Thurles.
Oh, Temple, okay. What's been the biggest disappointment of your career?
Losing 3 county finals with the Glen.
Who's the joker on the Cork panel?
The joker, there's quite a few. Jack O'Connor.
Jack O'Connor. Who's the best dressed and who's the worst dressed?
Oh, the worst dressed. Decky Dalton. And the best dressed. Few fellas now will be kind of giving out about this one, but I would go with the best dressed. Jeez, I can't even think that. Tim O'Mahony.
Tim O'Mahony. And why is Decky Dalton the worst?
He just kind of puts together kind of funny outfits, you know. He's kind of bright shoes and things like that, like you'd be kind of saying. I wouldn't pull him off anyway.
Which player loves the media attention?
Shane Kingston. Shane Kingston loves it.
What player from another sport do you admire?
Michael Jordan, basketball.
And final question then before I let you go. What manager from another sport do you admire?
Probably Alex Ferguson, I suppose.
Okay. All right. But look, really appreciate you joining me, Rob, and best of luck with the